Hey everybody, it's Chuck. Welcome back. Well, we got a new software release yesterday, FSD Supervised 12.5.1.3, and it looks like this is primarily bringing the FSD branch up to 24.26, which is the quote-unquote summer release. Summer release that doesn't have a whole lot in it if you ask me, but generally it brings the software build up, which is great news for Hardware 3, great news for Cybertruck, and great news for everybody wanting to come up to these latest features. Traditionally, the FSD branch has always lagged behind the production branch, but it looks like the Tesla AI team is doing a good job catching up here this summer. As you pull this up, you can see we've got under schedule, we've got the new tab here. We got some additional preconditioning options under safety. It looks like the parental control section is new. If you want to set like a maximum speed for your kids or something like that, if they're driving under their profile. And I believe there's also the weather indication, which is right up here. You can see this Jacksonville, Florida weather, including the UV index and the AQI index, and the air quality index, which is great. Hey, I know what the temperature is pretty much outside, but I think it's great to have the forecast and what's going on in here. It's a great addition. And especially if they're starting to use this for efficiency and battery use and things like that. Yeah. So that is it. I've got our route in here. I'm modifying it up a little bit. I'm going to try to get better about changing these routes. We're going to do hopefully 2 unprotected left-hand turns with a U-turn in the middle to start. Then we're going to go do that fire station intersection, and we will see how it does. I do not expect this branch to be much different than the previous as far as FSD goes, but just to set the benchmark, get some data collection going out here. Yeah, let's go. All right, there's our first speed bump, and then we will do an unprotected left-hand turn. It is Saturday morning at 8:50 a.m. Traffic is most likely low, so this is probably just going to be looking left for a roller with our NHTSA stop and our creep. And we got 2 or 3 cars with some nice gaps in here, so it should go right after this next car. It should probably, let's see, we got a middle lane that's used. We need to wait. We need to wait. We need to wait. Oh, do not go. Oh gosh, it started kind of rolling and creeping, but it didn't go. It didn't go. You could tell it was thinking about that one, which I think is good. I'm going to go ahead and edit this trip. I'm going to go ahead and delete that. It should do a quick U-turn, and we'll do one more unprotected left. Let's see how this U-turn is done here on Roosevelt. Yep, there it's mapped. You can see it up in the upper right-hand corner of the screen. Yeah, that one was a good unprotected left. Sometimes at those ranges and distances, I'm just not quite sure if it's going to commit in front of a car that's kind of going pretty fast. All right, I would call this a medium gap. If it goes, okay, I'm glad it didn't go there. I was looking at that car through the trees. I wasn't sure if the car could see through the trees. Okay, very slow, coming on around. No problems with that unprotected left. I'm sorry, with that U-turn. That was good. The gap was wide. This was not in traffic, but the maneuver, I would say, was really, really good. So yeah, let's go ahead, and I am going to prepare the route. I'm gonna probably disengage to do this. And then we will do one more unprotected left-hand turn and then back to the fire station. Stick with me. All right, here we go. Here's our second unprotected left-hand turn. Looks like it's got it mapped it correctly. And we're going to the left here. There's our NHTSA stop and our creep. And we got 1 truck to wait on. And it's wide open to the right. So light Saturday traffic, it's going to be just fine. And straight into the left-hand lane. And away we go. That was good. Okay, so now we should be going to the fire station. So 2 unprotected left-hand turns, nothing really to say there. The U-turn in between them was good. The decision-making was good. Yeah, I think this build so far is no change. Maybe just some software here in the UI and getting the build up to date. So the ADAS operators have definitely been testing all week. I have not seen them yet on a Saturday. Last weekend, they did not do any testing Saturday or Sunday, so they may have a 5 days a week type of a schedule. I definitely have seen the Cybertruck every day. I don't know if I'm seeing Hardware 3 cars. I'm sending you guys pictures on X of every car I see out there. Some of these are tricky. Is it Hardware 3? Is it not? I'm not absolutely convinced that these are Hardware 3 cars. I don't have the ability of going up to the drivers and asking them, and I definitely can't get close enough to them to see the picture of the cameras to see if there has the internal red lens, which is the external indicator of hardware 4 for sure. So anyway, I'll keep you guys posted, and we'll just kind of see how that goes. All right, here comes our left-hand turn, and this is going to be an easy one for it also. Looks like we're getting a nice huge gap here on the fire station left-hand turn. And it should just roll this. Let's see where it goes. There we go. And I'm going to go ahead and edit the trip, delete the fire station, and hit done. There we go. And now it should try to jump across the street. And it's wide open to the left because of the red light. And to the right, it's wide open again. Okay, well, this is just, I'm giving you the easy obstacle course today. But hey, this is driving today on Saturday morning, and it's knocking it out of the park so far. All right, here we have a solid red with cars turning in this opposing traffic. So it definitely needs to wait here on a gap. It can do right on red, but these cars have the right of way with their protected green. So once the cars are done, we're clear to go. And it found its gap just right, crossing the railroad tracks, and away we go. So on this road, I've been kind of tricking the car into trying to do an unprotected left-hand turn to come back. You see these little medians here? Most of these medians are designed for cars to jump off of the road and cross into these neighborhoods or houses. You can't really do a U-turn right there very easily because there's just not much room. So I'm going to wait on canceling this trip until we're going across this bridge. And what I'm hoping is that it will choose the intersection to do the U-turn, because I don't want it to do the U-turn in the median when the intersection is the very next place to do it. All right, I've adjusted the route. Pay attention to the road, Chuck. I'm looking at the map to make sure it's done, and it has got the U-turn mapped again just prior to the intersection. So that's not what we want here. The planner ought to realize the safest place to do a U-turn is just a few feet ahead. So here we're coming down the bridge. Can you see what we're doing here? There's a tiny little cut in the median here. There's a car behind me, not quite. I'm gonna let it do it. See this? It's gonna do a U-turn here, but why didn't it go right there? Now it's very slow, it's unprotected. If there was traffic, that's not the way to do that. I understand it can do it, and it did it, but somehow the planner needs to have a little bit of common sense of what the safest thing to do is, right? So that's just like all you guys saying, hey, why don't you just do a right and do a U-turn at Chuck's unprotected left? That's a fair argument. Maybe they do want to do that if it's the safest thing to do. But when you got just a few feet, go to the light, guys. Anyway, that's that one. We're going to go back here to the firehouse waypoint we're going to cross the railroad tracks, and it's going to turn right, and then we're going to go through that intersection a little bit, and then I'm going to change it up a little bit. We'll see how it goes there. So far, this feels just like the last build. It did the exact same thing at that U-turn. But we got a new build. All right, let's see how this looks here. Stoplight, intersection, and it looks like we just missed our protected green arrow here. So we're going to have to wait through a light cycle. I may fast forward this, but I do like to talk right here a little bit about the way the car is approaching the railroad track scenario. If you see on the visualization, it's just turning everything into stoplights. There is a white stop line right here. Ooh, and it's going right past it. So I am past the stop line this time. There's a car up there. It is choosing not to go all the way up to the car, which does imply it's giving some distance here. But if that crossbar came down, and I'm looking to the left here, it might be right at the hood. So I guess let's have the situation. Why did it go past the stop line and choose to go here? Is it measuring the distance to that car in front? Does it even see the railroad tracks? I don't know. I think it does see the railroad tracks. It's definitely not visualizing them. But if you do see here on the screen, do you see this little gray hazy area? Okay, we got our protected left here. So let me get back to editing my trip here so I don't mess my waypoints up too much. Ooh, good situation with a slowing car turning off there, and it slowed nice right behind the Tesla going to McDonald's probably to get some coffee. And let's see, I'm going to go ahead and delete and hit done this time for you guys and see a quick reroute here where it's going to go. Okay, it's just right. But now we've got a car here that's acting as a lead car. No red or red. Should be doing a right-hand turn here into traffic. Quick reroutes. I'm really liking the quick reroutes. And then jumping onto Roosevelt. So that was good. I'm getting better with the map, making sure I hit done and things like that today. You know, that railroad track thing, I don't know how to describe other than it seems to know it's there, but it... what do you guys think? Do you think it's stopping with enough room on that railroad track? Should it have been back at the stop line since there was a stop line? If there wasn't a stop line to use as a marking, I agree. Just kind of don't be on the railroad tracks, and if the guard bars were to come down, make sure you're not going to get hit by them. I talked about on the last video, you know, humans, especially in the railroad tracks, you need a bailout scenario if you get jammed in the wrong spot. You know, sometimes you can be teased into crossing the railroad tracks and then a light turns red and next thing you know, oh no, I'm not in a great spot here. You know, you can kind of be in a dangerous situation as long as you have a bailout scenario. If you start to hear that train horn going, which is another feature FSD to this point does not have, it doesn't have the ability of listening yet, you know, you got to get out of the way. That's the way I was taught to do it. The best thing is don't be on the railroad tracks ever. That's the way school buses are. That's the way any sort of public transportation vehicle is. But as a human, if you do get stuck, you need a bailout scenario. Something to think about if you're the Tesla AI team watching this and figuring out how to handle them. I don't have any problem the way you handle that one, but the way you jump past the stop line just made me want to talk about it a little bit. All right, we'll fast forward here a little bit, and then I'll join you up here at the next intersection. All right, as we're coming over the bridge here, just ahead of our next intersection to take a left, we do have a car approaching from behind, and he's speeding up. And honestly, this is a scenario where the car should have gotten over earlier, and he may be boxed out now. See, now I'm being flashed. I was flashed there, and the car gave me room. Now it needs to get over one more. That was a scenario where the planner waited too long. This car started flashing me because my blinker was on, and that was legit. I don't know if the car can see him flashing me. He probably just showed that his trajectory was slowing down. Unprotected here with the flashing yellow and accelerating, and now we're going back over the railroad tracks. So in that situation, the planner waited too long and did not use acceleration to get over into the lane. Only used the slowdown there. I was sitting there waiting for it to get over, but it stayed in that middle lane just a little longer than it should. All right, there's our NHTSA stop with a creep, and I'm looking left and right, and we're wide open here. All right, this is Birkenhead Road. This is our narrow road scenario. Haven't had any issues on Birkenhead since version 12. Looks like I may have a narrow roads interaction here. This is good. I hadn't had one in a while. And look at that. Didn't even flinch. It used to do all of this. Ooh, did you see that little jog to the right and to the left? That was interesting. But no problem there. It got back to its spot, but there was a weird little thought to get more into the middle lane. I do have a car right behind me, too. But both of those interactions were fine. There was a funny little steering wheel jog just at that stop sign back there. It did look like it did not see that speed hump. It went over it at 27. I don't know if the lighting, obviously it's not mapping these speed humps. It's doing it visually. Clear left and to the right. It should just proceed here. I got a car right behind me that's wondering what the heck I'm doing. Kind of, you know, why are you stopping so much at those stop signs kind of behavior, I guess I would describe it. All right, one more speed hump. Let's see if there's a slowdown for that one. So it saw that one, no problem. Wow, all the way down to 13. That's great. Okay, next up is a unprotected left into the suicide lane interaction where it's historically just been waiting on both left and right scenarios. Okay, now we got to wait from the left for sure. I'm going to show you guys what we have here on the screen. And it's wide open to the right. So its choice to wait here is perfect. After this truck, it should just go. No problem. And I'm going to go ahead and do that. Hit and done. That reroute should work just fine. I mean, light traffic, it doesn't have any problem when it can just wait on a nice big gap. Should be taking a left here. This is going to be an unprotected left. It could wait on a green arrow if it needed it in higher traffic. But the traffic is coming over this bridge. So very fast traffic could surprise it, but the speed limit here is no problem. It looks like we got a wide open scenario here. Yeah. I don't know. I guess testing on Saturdays isn't very exciting, guys. Sorry about that. But it's just doing so great. It's not even really giving me anything to talk about. But somehow I continue talking. This is a well-marked road. I like to show this just to see the lane centering. It's rock solid there. It's what's it choosing on speeds. Look at that speed, though. So those of you that like to argue either direction about what the right speed is, I probably would be going about this speed, 35, 38, probably not 40, and it's not doing that. And here we are at speed limit of 30 with no lead car. It's choosing 35. No problem with that. A little bit of debris in the road, kind of moss, didn't seem to react at all to that. That's fine. It kind of straddled right over it. I do see a cat off in the road in the distance, but I don't think that's going to end up being an interaction. Didn't even map it. Yep, this is going easy. And I'm going to take that one off and put the return in there. Let's see which way it chooses to bring us back. Yep, that'll be good. Huh. Well, the excitement that we're all really waiting on, I'm not calling this release much excitement. I'm not very excited about this weather and stuff like that. Parental controls might be important to some folks, which I can understand. It's getting the hardware 3 vehicles on FSD 12.5. Listen, there are a lot of hardware 3 vehicles out there, and Elon commenting about needing a lot of software optimization. We're beyond 10 days. I think today is the 12th day since Elon put on X. It'll be about 10 days. You got to give Elon credit for using the word about. Listen, I think the hardware 3 story is being told right now. The trajectory that we're on these forks now, hardware 4 versus hardware 3, is being told. So what that means to me is we're going to get 12.5 on hardware 3. I'm sure of it. I don't know if it's going to be this weekend or if it's going to be next month. I don't know. But my point is let's extrapolate this out to 12.6. Just looking left and right, we have a little bit of obstruction. There's no traffic, no problem. If we take this out to 12.6, and we already went through this with 12.5, is it going to be even worse? Or is the team going to have these optimizations in work and they'll be much, much closer? I think we're pretty certain that they're not the same build anymore. If they're making optimizations, that means somehow they're making concessions of some sort, whether they're perceivable to the driver or not. They're making some sort of concessions so that the hardware, the chips, can handle the number of parameters in the model that we're using here on 12.5. I don't think that they're just going to refine the model so that the optimizations for hardware 3, crossing the railroad tracks, should be a stop line, stop here for the NHTSA folks, and then it should do a right on red. Now, the right lane is open. It's choosing to wait here. We have one car coming that's using the right lane now, and then it's going to be wide open. So as a human driver, I might have gone in that right lane only, but you can see what the car chose to do there. I don't think what's happening, back to my other thought, that the optimizations for hardware 3 are going to mean hardware 4 runs that much better. I feel like they're going to be making concessions so that hardware 3 will run on this model, and they're going to have 2 forks. So that hardware 4 continues to perform at the number of parameters and the processing power it can. That doesn't mean that the hardware 4 model can't be optimized too. I think that's the general trend that many are predicting, that many of these models will get smaller over time as the data sets get better and the curation gets better, and you just don't need the same number of parameters. Whether we've reached that local maximum yet or not, I don't know. But I think that hardware 3 is on its own road now of some sort, much like hardware 2 and hardware 2.5 have been, you know, for a long time now. And I think next year around this time, when we're starting to get really close to the release of hardware 5, I think we're going to see the same thing happen again for the hardware 4 vehicles. You know, is the refresh Model Y coming out next year going to be the last car on hardware 4? You know, I don't know. There's going to be a lot of FOMO created in there when that refresh Model Y is coming out in the vicinity of a new hardware upgrade, and people are going to wait on hardware 5, or is hardware 5 going to be exclusive to Robo? We do have a date coming up here, October 10th, where maybe we'll get a lot more information on that AI 5 hardware that Robotaxi will be using. But whether or not the timeline on that is anything we can talk about now, or are we years away, we just don't know yet. Well, there we go, guys. I'm looking at the camera, and I've got, you know, 25 minutes or so, a little bit more than that, of film. I think this is a nice little intro drive for FSD Supervised 2.5.1.3, bringing us up to the summer release stack. What do you think? Pretty typical. I'm not going to say it's much to change here. So let's just put this one in the books. Thanks for watching. Leave some comments below. Let me know what you think. I know I asked a lot of questions of you guys in the during the drive there. Let me know what you think. Have a great day, everybody.